In today's Rebound Detroit, new guidance on stimulus checks sent to the deceased.
7 Action News reporter Amira David joins us with what you need to know. Amira?
In the last few weeks, we've heard from many of you about stimulus meant for a deceased loved one. Do you have to return it? The answer is yes. But now we're learning exactly how.
We received this check, which we found interesting.
It was an unexpected piece of mail. Diane and Ron Kerner receiving this stimulus check for Ron's late mother, Edna. She passed away 2 years ago and has long stopped receiving Social Security. But more shocking than seeing Edna's name on the check was seeing the letters that came after it.
It clearly says deceased on it.
These 4 letters, DECD, do signify the recipient is deceased, meaning the IRS knew she wasn't alive and issued it anyways.
What was your first reaction when you saw it?
Obviously, they have no checks and balances on anything. They're just randomly sending checks out.
We reached out to the IRS to find out what happened, and they told us that because of the speedy timeline, the 2 weeks they were given to get 150 million checks dispersed, regrettable mistakes were made.
There probably are a lot of people that do cash the check even though they're not entitled.
But the Treasury Department is now telling the Kerners and millions of other mistaken recipients to make it right. Unlike the stimulus distributed during the 2008 financial crisis, Treasury has directed the IRS to retrieve the misdirected funds. And here's what you need to know. For Michiganders with a paper check, write the word void, note your reason for returning it, and mail it. If the stimulus has already been deposited, submit a personal check or money order. Make it payable to the U.S. Treasury. Write 2020 EIP and the taxpayer's Social Security number on the note and mail it to this IRS address. If you were a joint filer and your spouse died, the IRS says you can deposit the $2,400 and then return just the $1,200 portion you didn't merit. If you choose not to, CPA Leon Lebrecht says you could potentially see it impact your taxes down the line.
And they come back and say, well, we gave you $2,400 instead of $1,200. Well, you had an extra amount of withholding, so you'll just have to take that into account.
So here's the Rebound rundown. You are expected to send back stimulus for the deceased. A paper check should simply be voided and returned. And for already deposited stimulus, a personal check or money order in the appropriate amount should be issued and mailed. Another question I asked is how this would be enforced and whether there would be penalties for those who don't return the money. Both the IRS and the Treasury Department tell me they do not have an answer as of yet. I'm Amira David, 7 Action News.
But I know Amira will stay on it. If you need help bouncing back in the wake of this pandemic, if you have a question or just want to share your story of recovery, email us at rebounddetroit@WXYZ.com.